Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is it's been long enough. It's been long enough. Let's just get some cards ready. Yes, getting cards ready. Yeah. All right. Sorry for the quiet. Just getting the cards ready. All righty. Let's see. Okay. All right. So there's a process that's happening right now, and it's a process that probably was initiated some time ago. It's something that you've very much been dedicated to without you realizing. Um, you've really been dedicated to this. You haven't been able to. You haven't been able to move forward from it in the way that you would like. The sense is that the way you wanted to move forward from it was not a way that would help you to process properly and implement what you've learned, because you've been in a cycle of learning for quite some time. And whatever it is that you're learning, it's been a very intense process for you. Very, very intense process. Now, this process is bringing you back home to yourself. It's time for you to really just come back home to yourself, right? It's time for you to gain an awareness of how much you've been through over the course of however long you've been going through this process, how much you've shifted and changed and learned, and just, a whole bunch of different things. Now, the process didn't unfold in the way that you were anticipating. Um, Sometimes you anticipate something thinking that it's the very best outcome and that's what you're hoping for. But the very best outcome is actually something very different. And when it unfolds in a very different way than what you were anticipating, because you've been doing all of this work, you've been putting all of this effort, when it unfolds in a way that is not what you're expecting, um, you can feel very unfulfilled. You can feel some type of way about it. You can feel um, as though maybe you've been bamboozled, as though maybe you have um, been dealt an unfair hand. These are very normal. They're very much expected feelings, because again, when you develop expectations and those expectations don't pan out in the way that you were hoping, in the way you were expecting, well, it creates some type of feelings within you, right? At this point, um, it's this sense of you've been going through things long enough. You've been going through things long enough. It's been long enough. And if you're going to hold on to the way you expected things to play out, it's going to prolong a process that just does not need to be prolonged. And I think um, you deserve that forward movement at this point. You have worked so hard to get to a space of flowing with your journey And everything that you've experienced up till this point has really been calibrated, intended to help you flow even more. There's an abundance that's coming, and it's coming from a space that you least expect. And you just have to hold steadfast to your trust in your process, your trust in yourself, not allowing your fear, your hesitation, your lack of understanding to cause you to hold on to things for much longer than they need to be held on to. It's time for you to invoke something. What are you invoking? Well, the end of whatever this cycle is, the end of the ugly stuff that you have been navigating for however long you've been navigating it at this point. It's time for it to just end. It's time for it to be done with, truly done with, truly done with. You need to allow your passion to be reallocated. Your passion, your fight, it needs to go to another aspect of your journey. Whatever you've been dealing with, it needs to phase out. You didn't have the outcome that you maybe were hoping for. I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure, but it needs to be phased out. And there's going to be a few things that's going to bring your attention to the spaces within you that still need so much healing. You need to step into a space of being your own healer at this point. There was something interesting that happened the other day at the gym. It's very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. There's there's quite a few different things that have been happening over the last few weeks that have been interesting. So the other things that were happening, they were intense, and mm, it's like the pulling off of a scab. Um, some people don't know that when you have a scab, there are certain sensations, certain indicators that the scab is not yet ready to be pulled off, right? It's not ready. And if you rush it, then you run the risk of that wound being torn back open, right? So, as part of the process, it's a very intense ascension mechanics that's been running for the past several weeks. Um, there have been scabs that have been sloughing off. And then an interesting thing happened at the gym. So a few days ago, um, maybe a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't remember at this point. Um, we were at the gym, and everyone that was with me was feeling just kind of raw. And there was a circumstance involving a new person at the gym. And I don't know, it was kind of ugly. It was kind of ugly. And basically, um, a guy at the gym was a fucking dick. He was a fucking dick. And he pissed me off. But because of the rawness of my emotions, I convinced myself that maybe I'm just being emotional and that I shouldn't be reactive. I shouldn't respond. I did look at him real fucking dirty though. He tried to be sheepish, and I'm like, with my face, like, fuck you. That's kind of the face that I made. And And just an FYI, I'm in a very raw space, so you're gonna see a different aspect of me that's not too funny, not too cute, not too sweet either. Long story short, this guy was being reckless in the way he was working out, which was endangering everyone that's around him. And so I said something to the manager in the front, who then spoke to him, and I was just like, "I'm gonna just leave that as it is." And then we saw him again yesterday. Um, he was mad disrespectful to a person that was with me that first day that I mentioned. Um, so that was already, kind of under the surface. And when I enter into a space of rawness, it requires an intense amount of introspection to understand what it is, what part of me is raw, how to attend to it properly, and what type of healing it requires. There's different forms of healing. People lump healing into one category. There's different forms, different layers and levels and intensities to healing, especially self healing. And so that brought my attention to a whole bunch of different things. Um, as a few days went by between the first event and the event yesterday, I was in a space of very deep introspection, very deep accounting of the areas that are still needing my attention. And the energy of this person was very, very similar to another individual that I loathe. Loathe. Um, and so I recognized that this was um an opportunity to realize how powerful I am in person, not just online, but in person. That I'm genuine in the way I present myself, right? So we get to the gym yesterday and it's like, fuck. I see this guy and he's walking towards the gym entrance and I'm like, it's all good. He ain't gonna try shit with me. I'll tell you that much. I'm not in that space of vulnerability like I was the other day. Cause now I know I wasn't tripping. You're a fucking dick, bro. So I go to the leg press machine and my husband was with me. I go to the leg press machine and I'm harnessing that anger in the most productive way that I can. I load on a shit ton of weight and I'm like, try it. Try it, girl. If you can press that, you got a PR. You got a PR. Do it. Try it. You know what it feels like if you're about to injure yourself. You're fucking aware of who you are, how you are. You know your body. It will tell you if it cannot. And not only did my body not tell me that it cannot, my body said, yeehaw, bitch, slap some more on. So I did. And I was leg pressing 617 pounds. It was a lovely feeling. It was lovely. It was lovely because I was working through that anger. I did 3 sets and I stood up after the third set. I heard something. I heard someone getting real loud. I'm like, damn, someone's having fun over there. And I look all the way across the gym. Holy fucking shit. My husband's about to fucking fight this dude. There was no fear. None. I took off running across that gym like it wasn't my business. Fuck yeah. No fear. This dude's huge. Huge. And clearly, by his demeanor, his behavior, he's clearly supplementing with some lovely steroids. I don't give a fuck. You're not going to fight my husband without me jumping in. And I've said it before, I know how to grapple. While you're trying to fight him, I will choke you the fuck out. I will choke you the fuck out. I will dislocate whatever needs to be dislocated. You will not harm my husband. Long story short, there was no fight that took place. But that dick of a guy absolutely knew his place after that. Because his bitch ass had to go around and try and rally up other members of the gym who wanted nothing to do with him. And talk about how maybe we need to be kicked out. No, fuck you. Fuck you. You ain't gonna do shit. There's two types of dicks in this world. The first kind is the kind that everyone assumes because their energy is dickish. You think they're gonna do something to you. See, I've been around dicks my whole life, my entire life. I've been around plenty of people who have been raging off some PEDs. I know the behaviors. This motherfucker had a roid gut. Like he had the body shape of Gru from the Minions. That was his body shape. Yeah. Yeah. See, the last time I saw him, he noticed I wasn't afraid. He tried to walk past me and get in my way, and I didn't back down. Like, you're going to get hit with this motherfucking weight. I'm not backing down. I don't give a shit. If I'm only up to your belly button, I don't give a fuck. We can fight. I know you can't move. I know you stiff as hell. You can't move. I'm small and I'm fast. What he didn't understand is, although he's larger than my husband's extremely athletic. This motherfucker stands on his BMX. I'm not talking about on pedals. That's how he pedals all the time. I'm talking about he stands on the handlebar in the seat just to get a kick out of my kids. He moves like you wouldn't believe he could move. He's athletic as fuck. So I'm over here like, you ain't gonna do shit. You see, he was the second type of dick in the world. The one that likes to talk too much and get loud. But really, you're just a scared little boy. You're just scared. And unfortunately for you, the Capricorn that lives inside me is the big, bad boogie woman. I don't give a fuck. And so now he knows. You go to whatever other gym you want. You come to this gym, you're going to feel embarrassed. And I'm not going to let you live that down. You learn how to behave yourself. Or you're going to feel embarrassed again by someone that's a fraction of your size. And now you know my husband's not scared of you either. Because he's not no punk bitch. He's quiet and keeps to himself. But he didn't back down at all. He didn't back down at all. So now it comes back to this space of, what was this teaching me? It's been long enough. This questioning of, what if I need to handle something in real life? Because I've been dealing with something long enough. I'll fucking handle it. I'm now approaching life with no fear. And yeah, I'm full of rage still. I'm still full of rage. And it's something that's going to need to be processed. No, not rage because someone else created rage within me. I acknowledge part of my grieving process involves rage. It is what it is, and I am who I am. And until I process enough of my rage, um, I'm going to have to sit in more stillness. I'm going to have to keep to myself a bit more. I will say this. I wasn't planning on going live today. I just didn't feel like I was ready. As we were leaving the gym, my husband was like, "You gonna go live today?" And I was like, "I don't know. I was kind of just, I was thinking about it, but I don't know." And he says to me that I need to go live. He says that I need to go live because it's been long enough. And that all of you, my community, you've put so many years of your life choosing to join me on my journey. And that I need to show my appreciation for the ways in which you've loved me by no longer withholding myself. I will share with you guys, though. I have spoken to a cybersecurity firm. They have advised me that with a continuing situation, and I don't want to get into the situation, but with a continuing situation, the most appropriate way to properly document is by going live on TikTok instead. So I'm going to get back on the ball with my work commitments, with spending time with my community. But much of that time will be on TikTok instead so that we can um, properly log the metadata that's necessary to continue with what needs to be continued. I am very happy to report, though, I feel a strength within me that I'm not sure if I haven't felt it in a long time, or if this is a strength I've felt for the first time recently. I'm not sure. And I don't know that it matters whether I've been this strong before or if this is my first time allowing myself to be this strong. But it's been long enough. And I hope that in my sharing of these details, I know it's not a lot of detail. I hope that it inspires everyone in our community that has been needing inspiration to really tap into your strength. I hope it inspires you. I hope it encourages you to be fearless in your approach to life. Really fearless. Mm. Renewal in reverse. There's nothing new that you need to do. There's nothing that needs to be changed out. What needs to happen is you need to allow yourself to reach a point where you recognize for yourself it has been long enough. Because it has. It's been long enough. Allow whatever emotions that come through to cause your light to shine brighter. Allow whatever those emotions are, right? Allow whatever those emotions are, whether they're positive, whether they're negative, whatever it is, whether it's sadness, grief, rage, whether you're teetering on the edge, recognize the kind of power you have in that moment, in this moment, and every single moment that comes after it. I'm pushing forward. I'm pushing forward. I'll share this. I came to a realization in the midst of something intense. There were multiple things happening. And it was this realization of, if I'm done being accessed, if I'm done being accessible, I cannot stay in this same space that has afforded those who access me the access that they crave. And that came to me in the middle of the night. Like 2 a.m. In the middle of sobbing at 2 a.m. I let myself keep sobbing while I went ahead and looked up PR firms, cybersecurity firms. I looked up agencies. Publicists. How to massively push myself forward and put my name and my face out there. Yes, that will expose me to more people. Yes, that will amplify the insanity that is drawn to me naturally. But yes, that will open up the floodgates. That will give me the opportunity to really stomp things out. So I was just giving myself just a little bit more time to process life. But there will be changes because it's been long enough. If you no longer want to be accessed in the ways that you've been being accessed by emotions, by circumstance, by people, by whatever it is, you cannot stay in the same space that allowed for pathways to be developed to access you. You can't stay in the same spaces. So I'm understanding. I'm understanding some of the things that have been allowed to occur, the things that I've been allowed to experience, unsavory things, ugly things, it is because I got too comfortable in the space I currently occupy. And just as I was made to be so uncomfortable, remaining in a comfortable space on Facebook, it's now time for me to carry forward. I'm not going to dump this channel. That's not necessary. But just so you guys are aware, I won't be as present here as I normally am. I will still be absolutely present, but just in a space that allows for more cybersecurity to be shored up. We're going to fucking catch you. You're going to be the fuel that burns as I rise. You're going to burn. I see clearly what all these events are pushing me towards. When you begin to see clearly what the events of your life is pushing you towards, I hope that it begins to give you that stillness, that quiet, and that peace to be able to make moves that are necessary. Allow yourself the opportunity to get to a point where when you say it's been long enough, when you think it's been long enough, when you feel it has been long enough, you then allow yourself to open to whatever comes next, whatever you've held off for how long. It has been long enough. It has absolutely been long enough. And I think most of you are a mirror, an externalized mirror of my internalized circumstance. We've been playing small for too long. We've been allowing ourselves to weeble wobble for too long. We've been shrinking ourselves. We've been dimming our light. We've been playing this game of trying to convince ourselves that we can't do what we do. I'm working through it. I'll share something with you guys. I started this new thing that I'm doing for myself. It is a thing that is helping me to process my grief and process life, process the psychological effects of different things that have happened. And it's opening up pathways. It's further dilating it. And as it further dilates it, what's going on, phone? As it further dilates it, what ends up happening is pathways that have already been open are then allowed to open even further. Okay. Okay, there it is. There. I'll show you guys a video. So the other day, it freaks me out to do this. So it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. And because it's a crapshoot, I don't like to try. But the other day, I was working on someone And it was definitely a thing of I wanted the door closed, but I didn't want to move. So I closed the door. I thought about it, and the door closed immediately. It actually semi slammed shut, to be honest. And then I was like, oh, it was just the wind. Because that's what I do. I convince myself that I can't do the things that I can actually do. So I was like, oh, it's just the wind. And then a few seconds later, my husband comes in. He comes into the room and he left the door open. The door that I just closed with my mind. And I was working on the person. And then I was thinking, like, I should close it again. I should close it again. And the door is wiggling. And then the person kind of paid attention, looked at the door. And I was like, and then of course it didn't move after that. But I thought about it and I decided to play. So this is a napkin. This is a napkin and this is a nail. And that's it. It's a napkin and a nail. And I figured maybe it's time for me to stop playing small and just start playing. Takes me a little bit. You see that hesitation? And then when I stop hesitating, when I stop wondering if I can do what I do, it starts to move a little more. Just a little game to play with myself. A game that helps me to better accept the actual gravity of me and what I'm here to share when I'm ready. And I will never be ready if I don't commit the time and the effort into preparing myself. The reality is this: the only reason I struggle to move something so light is because I don't believe that I should be able to. I've shared this story before. I moved an entire sheet of MDF plywood. It was about 3/4, maybe half an inch thick. I moved it easy peasy. And that's because I was in a rush. I was rushing to get an errand done, and I did not have the time to be inconvenienced. And because I was in a rush, I didn't have the level of self awareness that I typically exercise. It was just, nope, get that out of my way. Not today. I don't think so, Satan. I got a session coming up. I'm done playing small. I'm done pretending. I'm done. It's been long enough. And all of you in our community, you're in the same space. I know it. You're either just barely entering into this space that I've been immersed into, or you're already immersed just as much as I am, struggling with the same process, different details, different characters, but the same thing. It's been long enough. It's been long enough. It's time to allow yourself to enter into the spaces of existence that you rightfully belong in. You rightfully belong there. I think that for many of us, I think that for many of us, we're getting to a point where we're becoming angry, right? Um, we're becoming angry because of the frustration that we feel, but don't give ourselves permission to feel, acknowledge, accept, process, and then release, right? So then what do we need to do? Everything I just said. Acknowledge it, accept it, feel it, process it, then release it. Just allow yourself. Allow yourself. You hold all of that in your body as part of a deepened commitment to my self healing and the integration of all my parts, especially in the last week or so. Um, the process that I'm in, it's a very specific protocol that I'm doing for myself. It's been gifting me with an awareness of where I hold, where I store the anger, the grief, the frustration, the sadness, all of it. And no, I'm not releasing any of it. I'm collecting all of it, setting it aside, because the degree of rise I have every intention of fulfilling at this point is going to require all of that fuel. All of it. Everything that's happened in my life. All of it. Everything. Everything. Everything must be accounted for. And so I'm spending time learning where I hold it inside my body. I'm spending time allowing myself to understand what is being held, allowing an expansion of awareness of what is held, why it is held, where it is held, and what it will be used for in the near future. I'm thankful for every event in my life. Genuinely. Especially the hard parts, the painful parts. Especially for that. Those are the parts that gift me with the anger and the courage to be more of who I am. And I think I'm getting to a point where I don't just think I'm a good person, I know it. I don't just think I live with integrity, I know I do. Get to that point. It's been long enough that you've been denying yourself. It's been long enough. How long are you willing to deny yourself and the gravity of you? I went live on TikTok, I think like a week ago. And there was someone that was like, because I had said, you guys have to be careful, when you work with other people, which I think you should. I think you should work with whoever you're drawn to. But you need to use discernment, because there's a lot of people, especially in spiritual communities, who claim to be able to do things that they absolutely cannot do. That's the reality of it. There's a lot of people that are full of absolute shit. That's the reality of it. That's the reality. And I don't know how the topic came up, but I believe I had made a statement of, there are people who claim to be able to do what I do, but they can't. They can't. And that's just said in a factual way. It's not said in a way where it's like I'm superior. No, I actually am superior, but that's not my point. My point is that you got to use discernment. It's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for someone to want to get a service from me and be like, well, I could find someone to do that for cheaper. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, I don't know why you're even telling me. Just go ahead. Go to who you're drawn to. Go. It's not a big deal. You're going to experience what you need to experience. So you go, do make your decisions. It doesn't offend me. Only for them to come back and be like, I'm more fucked up. Now it's going to cost you double. 'Cause you could have just got one thing. Now you're going to need to get two things. But Emmy, I already gave them. Hey, that's not my fucking problem, yo. I told you. I told you. Do you know how many people watch my content specifically so that they can pretend to be able to offer the services that I can easily fucking do? This is me just being real fucking raw and truthful. Because I'm fucking done playing small. I'm done playing small. And that person was like, well, give us an example. Okay, you want an example? Oh, well, I've shared this before. There was a girl who used to come on my live streams all the time. And she'd be so vocal in the live streams about she does what Emmy does. She does what Emmy does. I do exactly what Emmy does. I'm a demon slayer. Okay, first, bitch, I don't slay demons. That's fucking energy. How do you kill energy? You can't. The first law of thermodynamics. You cannot kill energy. You can merely transmute it into a different form. Are you fucking crazy? How are you going to claim to do what I do? You don't even know what the fuck I do. This was before I was teaching classes. It's because I was playing small. So everybody think they could do what I do. And then one day, this girl, she won a session from me because I didn't value myself, my time. I would give sessions away for free. I'm not talking about just like a free 3-card pull while I'm on a live stream. No, I'm talking about a private session. I'll give it away for free. She won one of those. This girl who for months, maybe even a year, had been claiming in the live streams, she does what I do. Specifically, that's what she was saying. I do what Emmy does. Yeah, so she got her private session with me. I was like, you're fucking infested. Did you not know? This doesn't look new. She's like, oh, I can't see. But you've been saying you do what I do. Oh, well, you can't see that you're fucking infested with demonic shit and you're working on people and you're telling your clients you do what I do? What the actual fuck? What the actual fuck? Yeah. And that's when she realized, oh no, she doesn't do what I do. Nowhere near what I do. And that was me still playing fucking small. I'm done. It's been long enough. I'm done. I'm done. I still remember a conversation my husband was having with me almost 2 years ago, maybe 3, maybe 4. Yeah, I don't even know. We were driving past the Whole Foods. You remember that, honey? We were driving past the Whole Foods, and my husband said to me, maybe you need to flex on these fucking bitches so they understand. They ain't you. They not at your level. You're too fucking nice all the time. Yeah, my husband. He's a Gemini. It's to be expected. I'm serious. You said that. I still remember that. I remember exactly where we were. We were driving past Whole Foods. I just went on a cookie run. Mhm. He never says that kind of shit to me. He never says that kind of shit to me. But at that point, he got sick and tired of having to deal with the effects of me playing small because people think they can get away with shit. Because I let them. I let them. So in his frustration, he said, maybe you should flex on these fucking bitches. I was like, oh, oh my God. What? And so he said it again. And I was like, but that's not me. He goes, oh, I know. Yeah. I think if need be, that can be me now. I think if need be, that needs to be me now. So in that live stream where this woman is like, give us examples. I'm a big fucking deal. You see the way people do energy work now? I started that shit in 2017. You hear the words people use now, morphogenetic this, morphogenetic that. I made that popular in 2017. You see how people use their hands when they're doing energy work? I did that. I created that. The content that people think I'm fucking crazy because I'm saying this shit now, in 5 years, they're going to think they're the shit because they're going to be talking about that in 5 years. I still don't give a fuck. Because I'm not here to get credit for things. Just like I'm not here to be credited for everything. And yeah, you know how people keep talking about demons like they're parasites? I fucking started that in 2017. Actually, 2016. That's when I began publicly talking about that. I've been calling them that since the 90s. Done playing small. I'm a big fucking deal. I am changing the landscape of entire fucking industries. Quietly, with no fanfare, no credit, no none of that. And I feel like now I still don't need the fanfare. But bitches better fucking recognize I am the progenitor. I am the spark that lit the inferno. Watch the way you fucking approach me. That's one of the things I realized as I was going through that self-healing process. Wow. I have intact memories of a specific lifetime where I would be categorized as a goddess in human terms. And I thought that's like fucking insane. That's, ew. That's too much. That's like, ew. Only to realize I'm the thing that makes goddesses. That in one of my forms, where I had no form, it was my thoughts, my curiosity that gave rise to bodhisattvas. It's time to step into your power. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. Stop waiting for someone to give you permission. They will never give you permission to be who you are and exist at the level of gravity that you were created to exist in. So these days, I don't give a fuck who I make uncomfortable. I'm a big fucking deal. I'm a big fucking deal. And you will be hard pressed to come across another human being who possesses the degree of capacity that I do, even at my lowest. And even with that, I still don't think I'm better than others. But I do absolutely 100% deeply accept that I'm much more capable because I have much more I need to do in this life. And it's okay. And when weak people come across me and they hear what I say, and they begin to think and accuse me of being full of myself, I don't even need to respond. Why? Because their perception is rooted in their fear of their insecurities and their awareness that they do not compare to me. And all I have to say to that is, then stop fucking comparing yourself, bitch. You did it to yourself. Because at no point did I compare myself to you. When you are not apologetic, people tend to hesitate flinging bullshit onto you. Yeah. And now I'm in a space where I am not going to apologize. And I have every intention of dominating the spiritual portion of TikTok, just like I did on Facebook. And no one is going to stop me from doing it. Why? Because I'm simply taking my rightful place. I belong on top. And I'm not sorry. I belong on top. That is what I was made for. And why is what I'm saying okay? Well, because of the person that I am. What does that mean? Motherfucker, once I'm on top, I'm pulling everyone else up too. Like, why the fuck would I climb to the top just to be there by myself? That makes no fucking sense. That makes no sense. I belong at the top because I have every single desire to pull everyone else up with me. Not the toxic people. Your asses can stay on the fucking floor. Toxic people can stay on the fucking floor. I have no space for you in my life. Absolutely not. No. Stay on the fucking floor, take a nap, have some juice and a snack. And maybe once you start acting right, someone else can consider pulling you up. But no, I'm good. I'm good. And I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. It's been long enough. It's been long enough trying to heal people who have no interest in healing. To my community, I know all of you are so hell bent on being a good person and helping others. I know this because I'm like this too. There are some people, they are not wounded. That is their personality. That is their character. Leave their piece of shit ass on the sidewalk. Push it to the side, of course, so no one steps in it. Push it to the side and then just keep walking. Leave them right there. That's not something you need to deal with, honey. Unless you've been hired to pick up all the dog shit. You need to just leave that right there. No, you can't use dog doo-doo as fertilizer. It don't work like that. Yeah, it don't work like that. You're not gonna grow anything nice from that, except maybe some type of infectious disease. Yeah. So, keep your hands clean. You don't have to volunteer to be the one to pick up all the shit. I was talking to this guy at the gym earlier today, and he was present during the cock-a-doodle-doo that took place twice. He was present. And he goes, he was having like this existential moment. And he's totally like, I'm thinking that guy, he's been through some stuff. And he doesn't realize that he's the root of why he goes through the things he's going through. He just sees like people are reacting to him in the way they're reacting to him and rejecting him. And every time that happens, he becomes more hardened and his behavior becomes worse. And I looked this man in the eyes and I said, one of the most powerful things that I've learned in life is those type of wounds are not for me to heal for other people. And he goes, oh yeah, no, not me too. And I was like, good, we're on the same page. I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm glad. Because honey, I don't give a shit what he's been through. I've been through so much shit. I never go out of my way to be a dick to someone unprovoked. I'm capable of being a dick, absolutely. Please, please. Yeah, please. I'm absolutely capable. I told one of the other members, they're like, why doesn't he just go to Gold's Gym? And I looked at her, I was like, because they'll fucking laugh at him. Are you kidding me? Because they all are pretty docile in this gym that I go to. They're peaceful. That's why I like going there. They're peaceful. And she's like, I said, yeah. And she's like, oh, well, you would think that he would feel at home over there since I think he does steroids. And I said, girlfriend, of course he does. He has roid gut. Do you see how bloated his belly is? He looks pregnant. He's doing too much. He's doing too much. It's an excess. It's bloating his gut. Yeah. They'd laugh him out of that gym. And if he tried any of these antics, one of them would fuck his ass up. That's why he goes here, because none of you will stand up to him. But fuck that. I don't give a shit if I'm small. He doesn't do leg day. He has the body shape of Gru from the Minions. Yeah. We made eye contact while I was doing leg presses. He looked away. And it's at that point he understood, I'm not going to dominate this girl. No, the fuck you're not, sir. No, the fuck you're not. It is not up to us to heal these nasty ass people. That's the reality of things. There are nasty ass people in this world. I'm not one of them. Y'all are not one of them. Sometimes you got to match that energy. Sometimes you got to match that energy. Not all the time. Not all the time. But sometimes you do. I'm at a point where I am getting very deep in my understanding of where I need to focus my healing intention. Right? Very, very deep into it. Oh, I know there's a lot I need to attend to about myself. But that doesn't make me any less of a good person. It doesn't make me any less valid. Nor does your awareness of the places where you need more attention from yourself make you any less. Don't let people convince you of that. It's been long enough. You've allowed yourself to try and drive the car for everyone else from the trunk. I mean, doesn't that sound impossible? Doesn't that sound impossible? You're trying to drive a car, not to get to your destination, but to be everyone's chauffeur. And they've demanded that you do it from the trunk because they don't want to be inconvenienced with being in the presence of your greatness. I don't know about that. I'm at a point where I don't know about that. I'm not going to agree to that. Absolutely not. Abso-fucking-lutely not. No, no, not at all. Moderation, you've taken things in moderation for far too long. And that moderation, you're convincing yourself, you're trying to do it right. You're trying to not rush through it. You're trying to be patient. No, you're avoiding. And this is a very specific message. I don't know who it's for. You're in a space of avoidance. You're avoiding what you need to process. It doesn't make you weak. It just means you need to be aware that you are coping in that way. It's a coping mechanism. That's all it is. I've avoided so much about myself as a way to cope with my awareness of how different I am from other people. It's okay if I'm different. It's that very difference that will change the world. That's the reality of things. The world will not be changed by the people who color within the lines, who stay inside the boxes, who are polite and politically correct. The world will not be changed by continuing to follow the very rules that were created to keep you confined into a space that disrespects your sovereign existence. You want the world to change? Then you need to accept your uniqueness. You need to stop trying to fit in. You need to stop playing a caricature of yourself to be more palatable, more tolerable for the very people who are craving to see how different you are so that they can find the courage to allow themselves to be different too. It's important. You're important. This is why your existence matters. Your existence matters and you are important because you are not like anyone else. So stop trying to be like other people. It's been long enough. You've been doing it your whole life. You've been doing it your whole life. So what are you going to do now? You're going to exit out of that space of self-preservation. You don't need to continue preserving this version of you. This version of you right now, right here, I'm about to be real fucking raw right now. That version of you is the version of you that got you into this fucked up situation that you're in the first place. Bury that bitch. Let her rest. Put her to sleep. Let her rest. Let the real you stand up. Let the real you stand up. Just stand up. You ain't even going to try. The version of you that you're clinging to is the version that allowed for the people to do whatever they did to you. It's not your fault. Don't get that mixed up. This is not about fault. This is about awareness of why things continue the way they do. I will never allow myself to be that watered down, distorted version of myself again. Never. Never. And if anybody who don't know me want to come at me crooked, try to gaslight me back into that space, all they're going to hear from me is, bitch, you better recognize who the fuck you talking to. And no, I'm not going to be sorry. I'm going to say it with my whole throat and my chest. You better watch who the fuck you talking to like that. And if they say, oh, you think you a big deal? Abso-fucking-lutely. I'm the biggest deal you will ever come across. You mediocre ass motherfucker. You better recognize This is not a game or a role that's being played. And I'll give you one chance at grace because you've never come across a person like me before. But you're not going to get that grace again. So, like I said the first time, you better watch how the fuck you talk to me. I found when I have that type of energy, and I'm not apologetic, it's the other person who tends to apologize for their foolery. I have a lot of kids, and I had quite a few of them back to back to back to back to back to back. I love my kids. I wouldn't have had it any other way, but I breastfed exclusively. And that was during a time where, people were really shaming people for breastfeeding in public. Like you had to cover your baby, your entire baby with a blanket. Like, bitch, you eat your dinner in the bathroom with a blanket over your head. I don't give a fuck how you feel. You think I'm naked? Okay. If you think I'm exposing my breasts to the public, I want you to describe intimately the shape, size, color of my areola and my nipple. No, you can't? Right. So shut the fuck up. I never once had a person tell me to cover up, and I would breastfeed in public. No, it's not me bragging. It's me letting you know, like, no, I'm not apologetic. Why are you staring? Ooh, you have a sexual issue. Ooh, that's ugly. Were you not held enough by your mom that you think breasts are nothing but sexual? They're mammary glands. They're designed to feed a child. You see, when you begin to look at breasts in a sexual way, it's because you have an issue, some type of sexual dysfunction that's happening. And you're projecting that onto me, someone who's minding my own business, feeding my child. I never had someone tell me to cover up, to go feed my child in the bathroom or anything. Not a single time. And I breastfed straight, like straight for I think like 9 or 10 years. Straight, no stops. Nope. Not a single time. Not a single time. Why? Because I wasn't apologetic. I wasn't looking around like, oh my God, someone might see me. No. I was existing in a space focused on my child. So I'm close to my kids. Every feeding time, we're staring at each other. Yeah. When you're apologetic for being who you are and doing what you do, people get ballsy. People get ballsy. They do. That guy that I said was a dick at the gym the other day, he tried to invade my personal space. I was doing front raises, holding weight plates. He tried to walk in front of me, knowing there was not enough space for his big ass to get through. He thought I was going to step back and say sorry. No, I kept swinging that shit. Not only did I not apologize, he got sheepish and he said sorry. As he walked past, he squeezed past. No, I don't accept your apology. You're a fucking dick. No. As a matter of fact, he was going to try and do it again. I took a step forward. So he really couldn't fit. And I took a step forward by looking him in the eyes. Like, I don't give a fuck. You're not walking past here again. Go around. Go around. And he had to go around. And that's fine. When you're apologetic for being who you are and owning your space, you invite other people who are destabilized within themselves to become empowered in their instability. I believe that wholeheartedly. wholeheartedly. I remember I was maybe 19 or 20, and my husband and I, we were on a date. We were at a movie theater. I still remember the movie theater. And we got there a little bit early so that we could get the seats that we wanted. And theater's filling up, the movie's about to start, and there's a seat empty beside me. Then my husband's here. No, my husband's here. And there's an empty seat beside him, and there's an empty seat on this side of me. And this guy comes up, huge ass guy. He must have been like, I don't know, 6'6" or 6'7". He was fucking huge with his girlfriend. He comes up and he goes, "Hey, you got to scoot over." I'm like, "What?" And I was like, I don't know, 100 pounds. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you think you could scoot over one seat so we could sit down in these seats together?" "Oh, sure. Honey, could you please scoot down one seat? Make space for them." Don't fucking talk to me like you're going to demand shit. You want me to consider your request? Say it like a request. I've been this way my whole life. I've been this way my whole life. This is not like, oh, I'm badass. I'm pissed off. So I'm going to be bad. No, I've literally been like this my whole life. You come at me respectfully, which I believe respect should be the bare minimum. That should be the standard in behavior. I will absolutely consider whatever you're requesting. If it's within reason, if it's something that I can agree to in a safe manner, absolutely. It's no big deal. You want to try and be like, "Ah, you need to move over." No, the fuck I don't. No, the fuck I don't. No, no. Well, he changed his tone real quick. All I had to say was, "What?" Hmm. Yeah. And no, it was not, "I'm going to talk big and bad because I'm going to have my then boyfriend fight this guy." No, no. Because no, you're not going to talk to me however the hell you want to talk to me. There's absolute repercussions. I'm not talking about violence. I'm talking about I'm not going to give you permission. You are not going to feel comfortable in your disrespect. There's going to be a situation. We're going to have an exchange of words. That's what's going to fucking happen. And it's going to become very uncomfortably clear to you. Your behavior is out of pocket. I saw a video the other day about specific signs, and this person was talking about Capricorn, and Capricorn addresses karma. And I was like, oh, oh. And they're like, yeah, you ever cross a Capricorn? Um, they're the correctors of karma. It gets addressed right then and there. I was like, oh, is that why I'm like that? Yeah, it's why I'm like that. No, I'm not like this all the time. I'm like this when it's necessary. I see all the people at the gym. They all thought I was docile and slightly just unfriendly, right? I'm always just in my own little world. I'm not interacting with other people. And then when I heard my husband get loud and they saw me take off running, they're like, holy shit. And this older lady, she was talking to me afterwards. And she's like, oh man, I saw you take off running. I was like, this girl got some balls on her. I was like, girl, hell no, that ain't going down like that without me getting involved. And we were talking for a little bit, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to let nobody disrespect my husband and just be quiet. He goes, oh, where's your husband? And I was like, that dude right there. And she goes, oh, no wonder you ran. I was like, yes, I'm not going to involve myself just for some random ass guy. Please, no. And she goes, oh, you still got balls, girl. And I was like, mm-hmm. My dad didn't raise no shrinking violet. Uh-uh. No. So I'm grateful for every aspect of my life. I had a difficult childhood. That difficult childhood gave me the ability to have the type of tenacity and strength. You don't see that very often, especially in women, especially Asian women. I ain't scared of no dude. Not. People don't intimidate me. They don't. Mm-mm. No, no. And I think the only thing I've been afraid of, and I'm sure many of you can relate, it's not necessarily other people. It's that other people will see me as I am, and I won't be able to control what they think about what they see. Because for some reason, the ones who have power and integrity, I don't know why. It's almost like we feel it would offend others to be aware of how powerful we are. We got to stop that shit. We have to normalize witnessing powerful people who exist within a depth of integrity, right? We have to stop that shit. We have to stop playing small. We have to stop allowing our fear of other people recognizing our power to be the very thing that empowers those who don't have integrity, those who want to dominate, those who are the basura. Absolutely. The fucking basura of the world just needs to, no, no, no. Mm-mm. You're not connected with yourself. And in order to address that, surface and reverse, you're going to need to reach a depth that will allow you to see exactly what it is you're healing. Because for many of us, we've layered so many layers, layer after layer after layer after layer of excuses and hiding and shame and guilt, layered it over our strength, over the reality of who we are. Yeah, needs to stop. You're going to have to go real deep. Don't worry. You won't drown. Does a baby drown in its birth water? No. No, it does not. You are hardwired into creation. You have an etheric umbilicus that stays connected. You've always been connected to divinity itself. You've never needed an intercessor. You just don't remember. You will not drown in your own birth water. You do not have to come up for air. That fear of the depth comes from this lack of awareness that this water can be breathed in by you. You will not drown in it. You won't. These people that you're afraid of, they only intimidate you because you're over there exhausted from treading water at the surface, thinking you'll drown, not knowing if they'll pull you under. Those are the people that I like to be. I like to tell them sometimes, like literally tell them to their face, careful. I don't have to come up for air. You're trying to match my depth. Your ass might drown in my water. I don't want you tainting my shit. Be careful. You're going to hurt yourself trying to keep up with me. It takes me no effort to be myself. They usually get offended when I say things like that, and I don't give a fuck. I don't. By the time I say something like that to someone, you've been out of hand for quite some time, and you need to be corrected already. And that's me showing grace. Yeah, that's me showing grace. Release the dark wound, let love live. And that is you clinging to the pain, clinging to the parts of you that have been wounded and necrotized. Necrotized flesh cannot be salvaged, it has to be cut away. The flesh has died, it's necrotized. It has to be cut away. You have to let that go, that part of you that you're trying to salvage. You see, I think for some of us, we go through things and then we think like, oh, I'm going to heal myself so that I can go back to being the person that I was before all of this happened. You will never be that again. You won't. I don't want this to change me, but it already has. It's already changed you. So you're going to fight yourself to go back to being the person you were, and that person that you were was the very version of you that made this hardship possible? Um, I don't know if that's a good goal. Whenever I go through something, I set the goal of allowing myself to change in the ways I need to change so that this doesn't repeat again. Someone wrote, I'm struggling to have the right words to say to someone I deeply respect about an issue. If there's an issue and you're struggling to find the right words, you have to question whether you respect them or fear them. Because if you're struggling to find the right words, words are just words. And if you respect them and they respect you back, it's a mutual thing. You can say whatever needs to be said, and whatever lack of clarity occurs can be clarified during the conversation. I think for many of us, and I can't speak for you, but I'm speaking general terms. I think for many of us, we confuse respect with fear. We fear someone. Like, I know my BFFs respect me, and they can always come to me and just lay it out how it is. Like, tell me point blank, not to be hurtful. And they're not going to say it like, I'm so sorry. No, they're going to be like, okay, I'm not trying to kick you while you're down, but I'm seeing this, this, and this. So, you know, I think this is something we need to explore. Yeah, I do need to explore that. Thank you for giving me um, or pointing me in the direction that I need to explore. That's love. That's love. Being able to express something, right? I think for many of us, we're confusing respect for fear, that we are being dominated by someone else. Let them feel however they're going to feel. You need to speak truthfully, openly, say whatever needs to be said. And if there's any clarification that needs to happen, then clarify. Clarify. Sometimes I like to start the conversation with, I hope what I say is received in the way that I'm intending. Um, and if it doesn't come out right, please let me know if you want me to explain further. And then I say whatever needs to be said. What do you feel? What do you feel? Fear someone, or maybe we fear losing someone. So then that's kind of an odd situation. I don't know. I can only base my opinion on my personal experiences, and I've never had a fear of losing my husband ever. That I can be as brutally honest in my communication as is necessary, and that we can communicate. He's never done anything to cause me to have a fear of losing him just by exerting boundaries, expressing needs, or any of that. So, I mean, to me, and again, I'm a very specific type of person. I have very specific expectations in my connections. Um, if I have a fear of losing someone, if I say something, then that tells me that's a toxic connection. That tells me that is a very unbalanced, very toxic connection. That it might be a trauma bond, or it might be someone who has been extremely emotionally manipulative and is controlling me by way of emotional manipulation. Yeah. If I have a fear of losing you, why am I afraid? What have you done that I feel this way? What have I allowed you to do? That if I say no now, right? Some of our family connections have been like that. Yeah. That's very true. It's very, very true. That sometimes, oftentimes, if we're gonna really be, uh, it's family that we experience that with. You know what I did? I was like, okay, fuck it." It's fucking toxic. Yeah. I chose homelessness for, I think it was like 2 or 3 years, um, than to deal with the continuation of that. I literally chose to be homeless. No, it was not a lap of luxury thing. I chose to be homeless. I sat my ass in a parking lot for months on end, stuck, stranded, months on end. Because I was like, you know what? Fuck it. No, no more. No more. No more. I'm done. Yeah, I disappeared for quite a few years. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. You can't lose what was never for you to begin with. That includes relatives. That includes relatives. You can't lose something that was never yours. You can't take ownership of other people. And my husband, he's never made me feel like losing him has ever been considered. Like that's never been an option for him. At least that's how I've been made to feel. It's been 25, working on 26 years at this point. And I have abandonment issues. And he's never made me feel like I'm at risk of being abandoned. And he absolutely knows when to tell me, like, you fucking out of hand. You need to sit your ass somewhere and regulate yourself. And then you can come back here when you've calmed yourself down. Mhm. You guys have to recognize how long you've been dealing with all of these really toxic circumstances that you're not allowed to categorize as toxic, because the toxic fucking person you've been dealing with doesn't give you permission to properly label it accurately. It's toxic. Toxic is toxic is toxic, regardless of whatever other label they have. Uh-uh. No. They're not going to give you permission to accurately categorize what's happening. They will never. And here's the thing, one of the most powerful things that helped me to realize that it's been long enough that I've been dealing with certain types of things. I realized I never needed their permission, that I could make decisions for myself and live my life in such a way that creates peace for me, and that it's okay. And that even if they disown me, um, we still share the same genetics, dumbass. Yeah. Oh, you're punishing me by not inviting me to a fucking party where you're gonna talk shit about me anyways and have drama? Oh, wow, big fucking loss. Like I was planning to go anyways. What's the loss? What, the loss of exposure to drama that stresses me out? That's not a loss. That's a fucking gift. That's a gift. That's a gift. And I disappeared for about 3 years, right? Yeah, about 3 years. And, then when I resurfaced, I was in a space of peace within myself. I was in a space of, like, just tremendous peace, and in that peace, I found my power. And then one of my most toxic relatives, um, I remember one Christmas, that person came, they flew out to visit us, and they walked in the house, and they were like, "Whoa, you did stuff for yourself." And I didn't say anything. And then he went to the backyard. He was taking all these pictures because at that place, we had a view of the mountains, like the mountain range. It was gorgeous and it was so quiet. And he was just like, and I saw he was on his phone and I could tell he was looking up the MLS for the value of the property. And it's like, we don't fucking own this. I don't know what you're doing all that for. You're doing a little too much. You're doing a little too much. And that impressed him. That impressed him. Yeah. I could tell it impressed him because he said something. He said something that um, made me feel like he was giving himself credit for being a toxic ass motherfucker that put me in a severe hardship. And that it was that severe hardship that caused us to enter into a space of stability. Like he had something to do with that. No, it was a decision I made along with my husband. Right. And the best thing that ever happened that stuck with him, with that relative, that stuck with him. And it really fucked up his ego without me trying. Because then after that, he's materialistic. After that, um, everything he did had to match up to whatever I was doing, just being myself. And I was just like, you're fucking weird. You're fucking weird. You're being fucking weird. Like one time, we had to abruptly come into the state. I was living out of the state. We had to abruptly come into the state. My eldest son traveled with me. It was such an abrupt thing. It was like a crisis that was happening in the state. And we left so abruptly that I didn't have time to go rent a car. So I drove my car, which is not a fancy car. It's a used car. Um, but I drove that car, our car. And we were going to their house and they waited. They waited for us to arrive so that they could let us in. And they let us in and they're like, okay, I got to go to work now. And I said, okay, thanks. And then I forgot something in the car, in the trunk. And so I had to go back out and I didn't realize they were still there. And I opened the trunk. I got stuff out of the trunk. And they pulled up and they're like, oh, you got a rental? And I was like, no, we didn't have time. I had to drive my car, put fucking hella miles on it. He goes, this is your car? It's not a fancy car, bro. It's not fancy. It's literally like you see this all over the freeway. It's not a fancy car. But that's stuck in his head. Because again, these insecure people that you deal with, that you've been shrinking yourself down for to make them feel more comfortable, they will never feel comfortable with your existence. Everything you do is a competition. And I'm over here picking a used car simply because it has enough seats to fit how many kids I have. It's a used car. It's used. It's not brand new. It's not top of the line anything. It's just a reliable car. And the topper was, I think like a month later, we were back there again. This time as a whole family. And we are going to get ready to go somewhere. And because we live in a snow area, the vehicles that you purchase in that snow area usually comes with remote start because you want to warm up your engine if you're in a snowstorm. You don't want to leave your key in there. And so what happened? My husband did the remote start so the engine could start warming up. It was not snowing, but we're just accustomed to that. Right, it's our car. And oh, he was tripping. He goes, "Oh, you got the remote start? Relax. No one's competing with you. Relax. 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 Everything that you do will be seen as a competition by the most toxic person in your life. You're not even trying to compete, yet everything you do will be seen as a competition. Everything. Everything. No. Don't participate in that. You be you. Let yourself be yourself. That same relative, I found this super cute watch. I found it at was it like TJ Maxx or something? Some like one of those, cheapy stores that we all go to, right? Like you want to get something, but you don't want to pay full price. Ross, Marshalls, TJ Maxx, one of those. It's like it's affordable. So I see this watch in it. I don't have a watch. And I'm like, oh, I like this watch. It's cute. It's very simple. It's just a black watch. And yeah, it was like my favorite watch for a little bit. We were at his house and I took my watch off and I left it on a countertop. And he happened to see it. Oh, the sourness, the sourness. He read the brand. And to him, that's like a big deal. And in my head, I'm like, I got it from TJ Maxx. Like, for real, it's not a big deal. It's from fucking TJ Maxx. But that was like, that really got under his skin. Why? Because people like that want to see you fail. And that's what you've been doing for however long that person has been in your life, allowing micro failure after micro failure after micro failure to make them feel more comfortable with their awareness that you are destined for a success they will never have. They're not your problem. Their insecurity is not your problem. What your problem is trying to take ownership of their toxicity. That is not for you to heal. That is not for you to own, to claim, to act as though you're the reason they're like that. No, they were already like that. They were already like that. So let them keep being that way. And you free yourself because guess what? It's been long enough. It's been long enough. It's been long enough. You are in this world, but not of this world. And no longer do you have to take off so many thickened parts of you, the juiciest parts, against the grain in reverse. One of my old time friends is I think he's like a general contractor or something like that. He's handy dandy guy. Handy dandy guy. He's Mr. Handy Dandy. And I asked him one day, because I've had these cards for years, many, many, many years. I asked him one day, what does it mean to stand against the grain? Like, what does that do? And he let me know that um, when you stand against the grain, you are basically eating up whatever you're sanding. It takes a large amount off very quickly. And then when you sand with the grain, it's more of a refining. It's more of a polishing, smoothing out and then polishing that you're trying to do. So against the grain, you don't have to reshape yourself. You don't have to become something else. You don't have to excise huge portions of who you are. You simply have to be. You simply have to allow the abrasive nature of some people in your life, because you can't be completely without friction, completely devoid of any type of tension, struggle. Like that's an unreasonable goal, that unrealistic, unreasonable goal. But what you should do is allow for who you are to just happen. And when you experience those acute situations, very temporary, very short lived, of tension, a little bit of drama, a little bit of, I don't know, drama, that those are going to be the things that smooth the rough edges. And eventually, not only will you be smooth, you'll also be polished. You'll be a finished product. You'll be the end result of an entire lifetime of being tumbled. You ever seen a rock tumbler? It takes a long time to tumble rocks, to make them polished. Like a long time, like weeks usually. You know what they do? They put a little bit of water and a little bit of an abrasive powder. And depending on the degree of polishing that's happening, you have to do it in steps. Um, that's what's going to determine the grit, the amount of grit that's used, the particulates, the size of the particulates that will over and over and over refine the surface of the stones you're tumbling, until eventually you step down to the point that the grit is simply polishing, right? Feel like I can't do nothing without someone being butthurt. Hmm? I say, when is the sensation of other people's asses your concern? You know how many people are offended that I exist? I don't give a fuck. There are quite a few people who are offended that I exist and that my existence involves empowering other people. I don't care. You got a problem with it? Take it up with God. Take it up with God. Don't even go to my parents. Take it up with God directly. You got a problem with how I am, who I am? Take it up with God. God was the one that decided that I would be this way. Take it up with God. Let's see how that goes. You're giving people too much power over you. When you are so concerned about how you will be received, um, how the things you're doing for yourself, for your betterment, to restabilize yourself, will affect other people. And I'm not talking about be completely just like you don't give a shit how other people that matter to you are affected. If you know it's going to intentionally hurt them, that's your intent. That's not nice. That's not good. Don't do it. Don't be that kind of person. But if they're getting hurt because you're doing something that betters yourself and you're not intending to hurt them, that's their own fucking issue. That's their own issue. Let them deal with that. And maybe they have that issue because you've never given them the opportunity to deal with their issue. You know, one of the things my kids says um, to each other, if they're my kids are hilarious. They're hilarious. Um, sometimes, sometimes they'll have a little bit of a difference in opinion. about something, usually about a video game. One day they had a difference of opinion. And one of my younger kids says to one of my older kids, that sounds like a you problem. And I was like, excuse me, it sounds like a his problem. And I was like, um, yes, but what do you say? What do you say to that? He needs to self regulate. He needs to deal with however he's made to feel about whatever he's feeling about. And if he needs help in processing, then he can come to one of us and ask us to help him understand whatever he's feeling. But that cracked me up. He said, that sounds like a you problem. From one of my little ones. So even my kids are learning, like, you need to regulate yourself. That's your job, to regulate yourself. We as a family can hold space that makes you feel so safe that you can face who you are in the process of becoming, so that you have a say in what the end result is. But it will not be done for you. It will not be done for you, right? It just won't. You have to do it for yourself. And when you continue to project your attention onto someone else's struggles, you want me to be really forthcoming with that truth? You do that because you use them as an excuse to not deal with yourself. It's a viable excuse. It's an excuse nonetheless. I used to do that. That's why I know. Using other people as an excuse so that I don't have to deal with my own issues. Being so busy helping other people that I don't have time to help myself. No, that's full of shit, girlfriend. Yeah, I had to tell myself that. You're being full of shit right now. You don't want to deal with what you need to deal with. So you use other people as an excuse. And these people think you're being so nice, which it is a nice thing, but it's also emotional and manipulative because you're using them to avoid working on yourself. Yeah, I can hold myself accountable for everything that I do, literally everything that I do. I can face myself. But that took time and it took effort. It took a very concentrated, very focused, intentional effort to find the courage to face myself. And I must say, the person who looks back at me now, I don't really have anything bad to say about her. She just is who she is. And it's taken her a long time to get there. It was a journey worth the travel and the effort. You're worth it. You're worth the effort you're about to put into bringing yourself back into a space of wholeness. You're worth it. And you can bring yourself into a space of wholeness. Imagine the way you affect your environment. I once knew a person who I was helping. I was helping them with realizing their personal power over themselves and that they cannot control their family. This years ago. And this individual is a client, former client. This individual, I remember one day we were having a mentorship and they basically were like, Emmy, I'm realizing when I went and just focused on myself and I'm feeling peaceful, it's like my whole family became peaceful. I didn't have to tell them anything. They just became peaceful too. I was like, yeah, you're the matriarch. If the matriarch can find her power, and sit in that space of stillness, that peaceful stillness. It radiates out into your environment and it encourages the people who occupy the space to reflect that peace. That's power. Power is not telling someone or dictating to someone. Power is owning the space you exist in and inviting people to join you there, matching your energy, matching that level of peace. That's fucking power right there. And what happened was, after I confirmed, said all that, freaked them out. It freaked them out. So they decided to sabotage their entire progression and revert back to the same um, pattern, same behaviors, same mindset. At which point I was like, I will no longer be accepting sessions. I'm not in this to continue just getting money. I want you to be empowered, and you don't want to be. So our time together is done. Um, we worked together for quite some time, and that was my cue to just bow out, be like, no more sessions. It's time for you to be on your own now. You have all the tools. You have all the tools. You have all the awareness. It's time for you to just be on your own now, because I will not enter into these cycles with you. I will not join you there. You will not do that to me. So have a good life, right? No, I'm not taking it personally either. Those are the cycles, and you will not establish those cycles you've deeply established with other people with me. That's my power over myself, because at that point it had been long enough. I had gone through that with enough people to know, okay, I see the intention. It's not spoken, but I see the intention. I will not do this with you. Absolutely not. No. I will not take it personally either. I don't feel like you're intentionally trying to be hurtful or harmful, but your actions are hurtful and harmful, and I will not participate. Not even if I'm paid to. No, thank you. And that is how you maintain the peace in your life. You're worth the effort to maintain the peace that you covet. You look at other people's lives and you covet the peace that you perceive them to have. You have no idea what they're going through. You have no idea what they are experiencing. You perceive peace, but are they experiencing peace? So instead of coveting, create that for yourself, because again, it's been long enough. It's been far long enough. Legacy of light, you forgot where you come from. You've forgotten, and I'm here to remind you. So, you come from greatness, you are made of greatness, and you're returning back to a state of knowing and accepting the greatness that you are. Follow your own rhythm, but it's in reverse. So, this is telling me you haven't been following your rhythm. You've been letting other people dictate to you, whether it's dictating to you um, through inspiration or dictating to you in a more dominating type way. Don't, don't. Just stop allowing that. Stop. At no point in your internal conversation or your conversations with others should you ever be saying, Emmy said, blah, 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 and that's why I'm doing it. No, it does not matter what I said. What matters is your perception of what you need and how you will go about fulfilling, honoring that need. No. I used to get asked quite often why I don't just record the techniques that I teach people, sell the recording to them. So that way, they can use it for meditation. Do you know how dangerous that is? You're paying me for a private session to reclaim your sovereignty and be empowered in your existence. Yet you want to sit in an altered state of mind, listening to the sound of my voice instructing you. You know what the end result of that will be? You worshiping me. No, no, I will not allow that. Mm-mm. You need to hear the instructions that empower you from your own voice, so that as you sit in an altered frame of mind, you begin to reprogram yourself to see yourself as the authority over yourself. Not me. I have no authority over you. Are you kidding me? I already have hella kids. I don't need you to be one of my kids. I don't think so. Hell no. I want you to be empowered. I want you to see your own power. I want you to claim that, feel that, accept that down to your core. That's what I want for you. But what I want doesn't matter. What do you want? Do you want to feel powerful within your life? Get your power. It's actually very simple. It's actually very simple. We complicate things. And I'll tell you something. I learned this from the extensive research that I did to learn how to properly advocate for my profoundly gifted children. Um, when you're extremely intelligent, what happens is it's a weird thing, but it's true. What happens is when you're extremely intelligent, when the answer is very simple, um, it's almost impossible for you to believe that that's the actual solution because it's too simple. Like that can't be right. Oh, but it is. But it is. Yeah, it's very simple. The application of that simple solution can be hard. It can be challenging. Apply it anyways. What do you have to lose? Drama? Drama people? Drama circumstance? What do you have to lose? The things that make your life difficult? How is that a loss? I would say that's a clearing. That's a cleansing. And maybe it's time. I'm going to leave you guys with one more card. All right. So before I read this card, okay. I'll do two cards. Hashtag one, hashtag two. And that's what we'll do. Hashtag one, hashtag two. And then we shall figure things out. Or you shall figure things out on your own. So we're going to do hashtag one here. Oops. Hashtag one. All right. So it's going to be a little bit of a mini read. All right. Hashtag one. Here we go. Card number 12, Gates of Heaven. All beings have an ultimate spiritual destiny of happiness and freedom. Beloved Kuan Yin shines tireless compassion upon all life to this end. Yet sometimes attachments, lower vibrational beings, entities, and elementals become frightened of divine love and believe they will do better to hide in human energy fields instead. This blocks progress towards liberation, where human beings and lower vibrational beings can pass through the gates of heaven into peace, bliss, and homecoming to the spiritual source of all life. Sometimes we need to help beings find their way back to the light. They can get attached to earthly energies, people, places, or things. Like trying to enter a forbidden city, they attempt to reside where they should not, within the light of the human energy field, rather than progressing spiritually on their own journey through the gates of heaven into a higher consciousness of bliss. Sometimes this happens because although the journey can occur, to the consciousness of the lower vibrational being, it doesn't seem possible. It may consciously sense attachments or spiritual presence that is not of highest vibration and needs to be released from your energy field. Or you may just feel angry, tired, depleted, or not yourself sometimes. This may be because of old energies that you need to release that do not belong to you, or even from energetic influences that are not a natural part of your energy field and can be released for the greater good of all involved. The healing process will help you even if you're unaware of the intricacies behind why you're feeling the way you do. You may have just done a clearing, in which case, this oracle is confirmation that it's working. Or if you have recently lost a beloved, this is confirmation that they are passing through and are at peace, but could benefit also from your loving prayers to help them on their way. This oracle may also indicate a psychic skill that you have in helping non physical beings find their way into more peaceful consciousness. If you feel this may be the case, you would perhaps benefit from seeking out training from skilled practitioners who approach this task with love and kindness in their hearts. This is a period where everyone has to be very aware of what their intentions are. You have to be very, very mindful of trying to do energetic or spiritual things that you don't have the capacity or the cultivated skill to do in a safe manner. Yeah, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be very honest with yourself. I've come across so many people who um they they will say things like um I know my energy, but they don't. Or I have to trust my process, but they don't know what their process that they're in is even about, or what it's trying to do for them. And, you have to be honest with yourself. If you don't know what process you're in, allowing yourself to acknowledge, I don't know what the process I'm in is. It's been difficult. I feel like it's changing me into something beneficial, like a beneficial change, but I don't know what it is. That will open you to being able to ask more questions that give you the clarity you're actually needing. But if you're just going to be like, I'm just going to trust my process and, I don't know what other people say. Um, if you're not going to ask the questions that need to be asked within yourself, you're not going to have the answers and awareness that you need to have. You're just not, because you're going to be existing in a space of, no, everything is fine. Everything is fine. I just have to believe everything is fine. You can believe whatever you want, but what you believe and the reality of what you're going through, the reality of the circumstance, is not always the same thing. It's not always the same thing. Earlier today, I believed I was in a peaceful space. This entire live stream, do I seem peaceful to you? And I'm very honest with myself. I'm not in a peaceful space right now. I'm not. Is that for anyone else to heal? No, that's my job to do that for myself. Do I have to be angry with myself because I'm holding myself accountable for the awareness that I'm not in a peaceful space? No, it's just I'm not. I'm not in a peaceful space. When I take time for myself, as soon as this live stream is done, I can get myself back into a peaceful space and see what pulled me out of it. I'm aware of what pulled me out of that peaceful space. I'm aware. And it's not you guys. It's not you guys at all. You guys are actually a huge part of my peace. I'm pulled out of my peaceful space being on YouTube because I don't want a specific individual to be able to access me at this point. I don't want them to. As a matter of fact, fuck you. Fucking piece of shit. Fuck you. You're a fucking joke. That felt good. That felt good. I feel myself literally returning back to my space of peace. Why? Because now I'm understanding that tension that's been building up this entire time I've been live. It's because I'm allowing someone else to have some type of influence on where I feel I can be. Now, fuck that. This is my fucking channel. And now I'm in my space of peace. Remember, developing an awareness of why you feel the way you feel, where that feeling lives inside you. Giving yourself permission to acknowledge the why, the what, the where, the how. Right? Okay. That is what it is. Will that stop me? No. Will that continue to affect me? As long as I don't acknowledge it, as long as I don't address it directly within myself, yeah, it will. So then what do I need to do? Address that shit. Address that shit. Life goes on. Life goes on. Life goes on. What does that mean? I'm not going to allow any of my live streams to be disrupted. Everything just continue to be documented silently, continue going. Because you don't matter. You never did. You're just a little trinket that was used by soul to get me to exit out of a space of complacency. So many emails. I want to shut your channel down. Bitch, I'm going to be so fucking famous very, very soon. You'll never have the ability to stop that. You won't. And that's how I know now you're truly irrelevant. By the way, guys, the results were not what I feel was appropriate. But I've won the injunction. A Swiss judge has granted me an injunction. A specific clown is not allowed to comment on any of my platforms. Not a single one. And if they do, that comes with a hefty fine. And if they're insolvent, meaning their broke ass can't pay, then it can be jail time instead. Love it. Yeah, I spent a shit ton of fucking money to get that. a shit ton of fucking money to get that. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. I'm abso-fucking-lutely worth it. It's money well spent. But we're gonna have to come together and find a way to raise funds for the sanctuary. I know. It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I could have spent all that money and built the sanctuary myself already. Yeah. But again, ripening awareness that the sanctuary was never supposed to just be built by me. It was supposed to always be a community effort, right? It's okay. It's okay. Ah, the release. Mm. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Because since I've had that news, I've been feeling like that's not okay. That's not fucking okay. Actually, it is. I'm not going to stay trapped in that cycle. Have amazing things to offer the world. Have amazing things that my soul has tasked me to do. And that is my focus. Ah. Mm. All of these very difficult shifts in other aspects of my life were shifts that occurred to make space for the things that need to come in now. Not only will everything be fine, not only is everything already fine. I feel life accelerating towards some intangible thing that feels so right. It just feels so right. I don't know what it is yet. But it fills me with so much peace and acceptance. Not because I have to accept something, but because I'm starting to actually understand. Big changes, big changes. This oracle is a message that there is benefit in calling back to yourself all parts of you. Ooh, ooh. That leaving any part of you attached to another's energy field out of fear, whether or not they gave you permission or encouragement to do so, is not going to help you grow more. This fear of losing someone, this fear of not being able to push them away, all of that has to be let go of. All of that has to be let go of. The time has come to own your power and no longer seek to enter the forbidden city of another's energy field, and instead seek to pass through the gates of heaven and dwell in the palace of light within your own heart. So for those who chose #1, confirmation that it's time. #2. You're up now. Let's see. Would you guys like to ooh, this. By losing someone, I gain myself. Mm. And sometimes the someone that you lose in order to gain yourself is the version of you that refused to allow all your parts back home. Love it. I love it. I love that. All right. #2. Veil of Shadows. A lotus blossoms with deep, rich mud into which she plunges her roots and draws great nourishment. From this mud, made of water and earth, growth happens and great beauty is revealed. Your soul lotus thrives through depth of emotion and aliveness of your body, into which she can plant herself and unfold as a lotus of light. For those of us who feel like we're a mess, it's just, God, life is so messy. I'm so messy. I'm such a mess. You're the perfect place to grow your lotus. You are the home to the beauty of the lotus that you are. Celebrate who you are and how you are, rather than trying to be what someone else told you to be. One time someone was like, "You're so messy." And I know they meant it in a derogatory way. And I was like, I know, right? Ah, love it. And they're like, "You're weird." I was like, I know. It's amazing, isn't it? And I genuinely meant that. I meant that. Because what more profound existence could you have than being your own wilderness? Having never been touched by others, never tainted, never forced to grow in ways that are not natural for you. I'm a messy ass wilderness. I love it. I love it. There's so much of me still unexplored. For all others know, I could have within my wilderness the cure for every ailment known to exist. Ooh. We will eventually learn our gravity, and that our gravity is the reason we feel so heavy in what we do. It keeps us anchored into the reality of what we're here to accomplish. And when you allow yourself to recognize it's the very gravity that you have that creates a sensation of heaviness that actually lends to the amplification of your strength. And if you didn't have that resistance, that additional weight or perception of such, you wouldn't grow. You wouldn't. You wouldn't grow. You wouldn't have the mass that you have, the strength that you have, right? Your soul lotus is blossoming just like a plant that outgrows the pot in which it's been planted and requires more soil to spread its roots and continue growing. Your soul lotus needs some more mud, some more water and earth energy so that it can grow and shine. And this is why things have gotten very amplified for you. Things are, I don't know. Sometimes I got to laugh at myself because, like, when things get really dicey, things get really intense and just like really fucked up. I get all bajiggity with myself for a time, and oftentimes I have to stay quiet for a bit simply because it's like, girl, don't. Don't just sit with it. You know exactly what's going to happen because every single time something like that happens, something where it's like, why does it have to get worse? Like, what the fuck? It's already so bad. How much more do you want me to fucking endure? What ends up happening is I then enter a space of like, I give up. Fuck it. It is what it is. Fuck. It is what it is. It's fucking shit. And when I get to that place, it's like the tension on the arrow, you pull it all the way back and you get all of that tension, right? And then you're like, I can't hold it anymore. And you're shaking, and then you're just like, fuck it. And you let go, and then the arrow gets launched forward. And so I've had this happen enough times in my life to know every time it reaches that fever pitch, that is my awareness of the loaded potential. Not only do I have potentiality that's about to become realized, that potentiality has become elevated, amplified, and expanded. All because I was fighting my process. Fighting my process. And all I had to do was give up fighting myself and let go. I'm going to be launched so far fucking forward this time. This time, I'm not going to be grabbing for the walls or the carpet or anything else to slow my ass down. I'm not going to try and stop it. I'm going to stay streamlined and allow myself to be launched as far fucking forward as soul has designed me to travel. Let it happen. Let it happen. Allow yourself to be changed. Allow your life to shift. Let it happen. Let yourself be catapulted forward directly into the heart of the life that you've only dreamt of. I'd say I'm ready for it, but that's not accurate. It's not accurate. Because in the past couple of weeks that I've been silent, I've changed. I've grown. I've expanded. As have you. As have you. In my silence and my absence, you've had the opportunity to think through some of the things for yourself without me chiming in, without me interfering, without me influencing your process. This has been a gift, not just for me, but for our entire community. Difficult, concerning, but a gift nonetheless. So we've all been growing through this in the past 3 weeks. So going back to my statement, I wouldn't say that I'm ready because that's not accurate. Because of the change, the shift in me. I think the more accurate statement is I'm actively waiting. I'm waiting for it to happen. I'm at a point now where I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, waiting. It's only a matter of time. Because I'm not just ready. I'm dressed and waiting. Get to that point. Get to that point right there with me. Where not only do you know that tremendously beneficial changes are coming for you to benefit you, it doesn't have to benefit anyone else. Let's stop with that already. To benefit you, and that should be enough. Enough of a reason. It's coming. And you're simply waiting for it to arrive. You can feel it. It's on the way. It's about to happen for you. I don't know what it is, but it's going to be amazing. In the spiritual worlds, all things serve everything, including our darker emotions and parts of our body that we may not think are acceptable. They are actually good nourishment for our soul. The soul craves to love and be in love with all parts of you. Like a passionate divine lover, it wants to hold nothing back and become completely spiritually intimate with all aspects and all parts of you, whether you have thought they were lovable or not. This can be challenging because it can feel extremely uncomfortable to visit and consciously engage with those aspects of our personality and our bodies that we have yet to really love and accept. Yet, this is what you are guided to embrace now. This process might be started by taking a class or engaging in a physical practice that honors the shadow part of you. If you have considered yourself an introverted person, it might be to begin to honor the counter side of this, the part that needs community and people in order to thrive. I've started talking to people in the gym. Oh my God. We'll see how that goes. If you consider yourself a quiet person, you might need to explore how you can find joy through sound, music, and energy. If you consider yourself a passionate person, you could benefit from finding the part of you that is peaceful and content in the moment with things exactly as they are right now. This interplay isn't about saying that who you are now is not enough. It's about acknowledging that you are that thing that you believe you are not and finding a way to live it with consciousness and love. It is about delving into the parts of you that have been hidden in a veil of shadows and are now becoming ready to be revealed and lived as part of the beautiful and whole being that you are in truth. In particular, this oracle asks you to look at where you can nourish your emotional and physical life with more focus, perhaps through art, creativity, journaling your dreams, creating collages, or engaging in dance or other forms of movement. Your spirit needs it to thrive at this time. It's time for you to allow yourself to accept you've always been everything that you thought you needed to become. You've already been that. You already are that. And it's just a matter of you going through the process to embrace that you are. It's been long enough. You've been in this process long enough. It's time to allow the fruits of your labor to be witnessed by you and also by others. I'm going live later this evening on TikTok. I'm going to be doing free energy work because I fucking can. No other reason, just because I can. So I will. And then I'll go live tomorrow on TikTok to do expedites. It's time for me to not just return back to work, but to dive headfirst into my destined path. It's time. I've gone through my process long enough. Yeah, it's only been a couple weeks, but it's been a very intense couple weeks. Very, very intense. Um, it is what it is. And what it is beautiful. Beautiful and painful all at the same time. Necessary. Necessary and a gift. Everything. Nexus. Hold on. I know what a nexus is, but a connection or link between things, persons, or events, especially that is or is part of a chain of causation. Mm. A nexus is a central link or connection. If you happen to be at the nexus of something, you are right in the middle of it. Ooh. The core. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. It's taken me 3 weeks. to understand what all of this is. I've just entered into the core of me. The gravity of it. I couldn't understand. For 3 weeks, I couldn't understand. I'm getting dizzy. I couldn't understand why I felt like I had no feet or legs to stand on. There was no direction, there was no nothing. Like a disconcerting weightlessness. Because at your core, you have no gravity. At your core, you have no form. At your core, you just are a fragment of a formless consciousness that was cleaved from the singularity we all come from. So that's what this all was. I entered into my core. And I have to wrap my mind around this. I don't know what it means. And I don't think I'm supposed to know. I can feel it though. It's an awareness that I no longer have to ask for things. I simply create them. If you'd like to feel some of this energy, I would love to share it with our community. If you're not already feeling it, go ahead and put hashtag feel. Hashtag feel. For those of you sensitive to energy, you might begin to feel a vibration deep within your core, gently rising up. You might begin to feel your eyes vibrating. You might become aware of a rhythm that's being established. And almost like the sensation of a visual that can't be seen with eyes, a visual of electricity dancing, sparks, and a flow. And a sensation of being gently lifted, tingling across the scalp. I'm going to say something, and I want you to close your eyes and let me know what you feel. Bring my empire back and help my people remember. Allow them to remember. Mm. Feels like I'm in water, the same temperature as my skin, gently being rocked by the waves. Things are going to rapidly change. Things are going to rapidly change. Allow the way you see your life and your place in this world to change, to shift. Allow it. Let us all come back home to ourselves, to an awareness of the history we share and the future we're building together. Nothing's going to stop us. Nothing will slow us down. All the pieces are coming together beautifully in perfect time. I'm excited. I'm excited, sitting in a space of peace. Allow the way you see yourself and your perception of how you fit into this world to shift. Just as I am being returned back to my rightful place, so are you. So are you. Let us all go back to where we belong. A space created just for us. I love you guys. I'm so glad I came live. My comms just turned back on. My comms just turned back on. Damn. Okay. If you guys don't have TikTok, you better download it. I don't care if I'm the only person you follow. We're going to be doing a lot of things there. And I hope you join me there. I'll still be coming here on YouTube. But a large bulk of my work has to be done on TikTok. Wherever you join me, you're appreciated every time you do. Wherever you join me, you are appreciated every time you do. So, for those who are willing to wade through the bullshit of TikTok, that's a whole nother place. Oh, I want to show you guys you guys deserve to see this first. 1 second. Because, okay, hold on. I'm waiting for someone to grab it for me. I want you guys to be the first one to witness it. It's amazingness. It's amazingness. Because I'm preparing myself to really, really just drill right through the TikTok space. Okay. I don't care if bitches are willing to make room for me. I'm going to make space for myself. And as I make space for myself up in that biznatch, I'm going to be me. So it's coming, guys. It's coming. Okay. Hold on. Um, okay. Hold on. Thank you. Do y'all know what this is? Do you know what this is? Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, okay? I got 2 versions. Just, 2 versions. Hold that. Hold that. Ooh, I just entered into ketosis. I have just entered into ketosis. Okay. Keto what? Keto who? Okay. So, this is the first version for the aesthetics. Okay? Um this is the second version. This one is functional. Hold that. Okay? You're welcome, TikTok. I'm going to fucking entertain myself with the people who are so fucking butthurt that I'm saying things that they don't have a clue. So, expect a lot of violin videos because I'm going to be gunning for egos on TikTok. Okay? I have intentions. So, I feel like people should do what's best for them and just scoot over and get out of my way. Or listen to the song of their people as they get banned. Okay. I shall see you guys on TikTok. I'm just going to go eat and be merry for a little bit. And then when I'm all re-energized and ready for some TikTok fuck shit, I'm going to be on TikTok later this evening. Okay. Okay. I love you guys. I'll see